Sprint rivalries. Usain Bolt versus Justin Gatlin. Jamaica versus USA. Welcome back to the channel, people. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for making it Peter Lloyd World. Now please hit that subscribe button so we can continue to grow. We are on our way to 10,000 subs. We're doing it really quickly, and it's because of persons like yourself. So please hit the subscribe button. Also, if you enjoy our content, hit that like button. The algorithms absolutely love it. It helps to push the content out. This engagement is very important. So if you like the content, may I beg you, hit that like button. Plus, people, it's absolutely free to hit that button, so hit the like button. Also, please leave a comment. I often learn so very much from you. Sometimes I don't agree, but I still read and I still learn. So, are you ready to talk about this? Are you ready for this rivalry? Yep, good to go. Now, I may not be able to show you all of the races because I don't want to encroach on anyone's copyright, and I don't want to get striked. Also, I've put the races in sequence. I've not included all their rivalries because the vlog will be forever. So let's start. The rivalry between Usain Bolt of Jamaica and Justin Gatlin of the United States is legendary and one of the most renowned. But the rivalry went beyond these two men. It actually became symbolic of the rivalry between Liquor Jamaica with 3 million people and the United States with some 320 million people. The rivalry really started in 2005 at the World Championships in Helsinki, the men's 200 meter finals, where Justin Gatlin wins in 20.04 to complete a sprint double. And Usain Bolt, who was just 18 years of age, places 8th in 26.27. This was the first time that I know of that both these young men competed. And as you can see, wet track, Bolt pretty much gives up 20 to 30 meters out, and Gatlin wins in brilliant form, completing, like I said, his double. But little did they know that this was the beginning of this rivalry. Come 2006, Justin Gatlin is accused of taking illegal substances. As a result, the governing body bans him for 8 years. He challenges the ban, stating that what was found in him was as a result of him taking ADHD medication. The governing body looks back at the case and decide to lift the ban. So he only does 4 years. He gets back into the saddle, starts running it in 2010. 2011, he's eliminated in the semifinals of the World Championships women, men's 100 meters. The next time he meets Usain Bolt, of course, by this time it's a different Usain Bolt. 2011 IAAF World Challenge in Zagreb. A very exciting race. Bolt is just getting into his prime, and as you can see, does a great job. Not as dominant as he would normally be, but still great job nonetheless. Wins in 9.85, very, very convincingly. And in the same race, Justin Gatlin, remember, runs 7th and runs 10.17. I found this ironic, people, because this was their second meeting, and if you remember in the first race, both the 200 meter Bolt came 8th, Gatlin came 1st. Now it's 4 years later. Gatlin is 7th, 10.17, and he's no longer the big gun, the boss, the big boss, and Usain Bolt is now the big boss. And Usain Bolt runs 9.85, rather sluggishly, but still it's 9.85. Then, of course, this sets up London Olympics 2011 men's 100 meter finals. Bolt wins in 9.63, Blake second in 9.75, Justin Gatlin runs 9.79. Now, this for me was very exciting and important. As you can see, Justin Gatlin gets out like a bullet. Bolt has to pull up beside him, pass him, and of course Blake passes him also. But it is important to remember, people, that he's coming from running 7th the year before and gets 3rd in the Olympics, winning a bronze medal. And of course, people start to ask questions. Does this mean that he's beginning to juice? I can neither say here nor there. My personal opinion is that I don't think so. I just think that it took him a little while to get back into form. And I know some of you are saying, yes, Peter, you are the eternal optimist. You know, you want to see the good in people. But, you know, this is just speculation, of course. If you agree with me, hit that like button. If you do not agree with me, hit that like button and let me know why you don't agree with me. Then, of course, there's Rome 2013, IAF Diamond League Men's 100 meter finals. Justin Gatlin wins people in 9.94. Bolt second in 9.95. And of course, this shocked everyone because everyone thought it was going to be easy. And as you can see, Gatlin runs a great race. Now, he did not beat Bolt by no huge distance. This was one of their closest races, and I like the shrug. Bolt was like, yo, he's got to win at least one. So, if you're counting, all right, Bolt has won 2, and Gatlin has won 2. Okay? So, 2013, Gatlin beats Bolt, and it's important to note that it's no long distance. So, let's go to Moscow 2013. Men's 100 meter finals. Bolt wins, of course, 9.77, a season's best. Gatlin runs second, 9.85, also a season's best. Nestor Carter of Jamaica runs 9.95. And what's fascinating for me is the consistency with which Gatlin is improving, which for me only makes the rivalry even more exciting to watch. All right? I'm sure many of you remember this race. Of course, Gatlin gets out there like a Shelley and Fraser Price. Always out there. And Bolt has to reel him in like a Elaine Thompson era and pass him. But what was important, what was really interesting to me in this race, I don't know if you noticed this, is that I think that Gatlin panicked. I think he tends to panic when he hears Bolt's big feet coming, boop, 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 and he starts to overreach. If you look back at the race, he's overstretching, and I think that may have been why he lost. People, it's important to remember this now. Winning a race is not just about being fit and fast. The psychology is important. If the mindset is not right, if you're not strong enough, it can create problems. And I think on at least a few occasions, that was the first time I noticed it. You can tell me if I'm wrong, that when Bolt pulls up alongside Gatlin, Gatlin tries to overcompensate by stretching his stride, which throws off his entire run, his whole strategy, the way he's running, and that gives Bolt the distinct advantage and the distinct edge. Of course, by this time now, this rivalry is Jamaica versus the USA, Gatlin versus Bolt. Listen to them speak.
When you have a rival, you tend not to like them too much.
Like, I'm not motivated, but then
I'm going to win.
hell no, you know what I mean?
Gatlin made a huge mistake going on TMZ Sports and declaring that he was going to win. Bolt had actually said, you know, in I'm Bolt that he was getting, I guess the closest word is bored. So Beijing, Bolt is now re-energized to win. He is not going to allow Justin Gatlin of America to beat him, a Jamaican. He's running for us to win. This is their closest race ever. As you can see, hair's breadth. I mean, they're literally right there. And again, I think the same thing happens. Once Bolt pulls up alongside Gatlin, Gatlin starts to overcompensate and starts to change his stride pattern, which creates a problem for him. Only can tell me. Of course, it's the 200 meters now. Beijing 2005, same championships. Bolt wins, of course, in 9.55. World lead at the time. Gatlin second, 9.74. And Anasa from Russia comes third. This is a very different thing. This is Bolt's specialty. And I'm telling you, Gatlin is right alongside him up to that first 100 meter mark. But then it's just all about Bolt. Because y'all know people. Bolt tells everybody, listen, this is my race. I don't care. I love this race. So Gatlin is no match for him. The closest race, I think, in terms of you're wondering who actually won, to me, is is the 100 meter in Beijing 2015. And as I said, Gatlin always does this thing, people. Watch. Once Bolt pulls up alongside him, he panics and starts to overcompensate by lengthening his strides. So now, of course, it's the Rio Olympics 2016 men's 100 meter finals. Bolt wins, of course, 9.81. Gatlin second, 9.89. And Young DeGrasse of Canada, 9.91 in third. Another great race. Bolt again pulls up. You see it? Pulls up. Watch Gatlin. Watch his arms, people. You see the difference? In fact, he starts dipping from about 1 meter out. He's panicking. He's panicking. And Bolt is just sticking to his game plan, getting the job done. Bolt is just doing what he needs to do to get the job done. The psychology. But I think what was great about this series, this rivalry that lasted between 2005 and 2017, is how the people of Jamaica saw themselves as David slaying Goliath, and of course Bolt was the slingshot, right? The slingshot. I think this is why this may be one of the greatest sprint rivalries of all time. So now it's London World Championships 2017. Bolt's last race. I still think he should never have done this race. One of Jamaica finals. Gatlin wins 9.92, a season's best. Coleman comes second, 9.94, and Bolt third, 9.95, season's best. Now, you can tell me if I am being a little biased here, but I believe that had they run 1 more meter, Bolt would have won this race. He would have won the race. And what's also different about this race when you see it is that Gatlin didn't panic this time. He concentrated on running his race. Gatlin gets that bullet start. Bolt, of course, is slow to start, and it takes a while to get up there into his top end speed. And you can see, if there was a meter more, he would have got him. But, you know, it's called the 100 meter, not the 101 meter. And hats off to Gatlin. And I think what was also important about this race, I mean, apart from this when he bows and pays homage to him, you know, I'm going to be honest with all of you. Let me go back to what I was saying. What was important about this race is that I think Bolt wasn't there psychologically. But that does not take anything away from Gatlin. People, I respect and admire Gatlin for he was working from 2011 to 2017 to be able to beat Bolt. He had beaten him in 2013, yes. But this, when he kneels in front of him, I knew that this was the truth of their relationship. That these people must have developed tremendous respect and admiration for each other. I won't say love, I won't say they were brethren, but great respect. And on a personal note, I was hurt when people booed Gatlin. You know, I was like, yo, we shouldn't do
What
it.
did you say
Listen
to
to
Bolt
this.
after the race?
Man, he came to me and said congratulations. He said, you know, you worked hard for this. You know, you deserve that. And he said you don't deserve all these boos in the crowd.
Now, another thing about this race, this final race that you have to understand is Gatlin was in, I think, lane 8 and Bolt was in lane 4. They were not beside each other, which they normally are. So Gatlin would not have heard Bolt coming alongside him, which normally triggers that sort of gag response, that panic response. It was Coleman that was beside him. Gatlin was way out there in lane 8 doing his own thing. And I think this also contributed to him being able to stick to his game plan. Listen to what Bolt said.
What makes me strive is the fact that they talk all the time. I love competition. So when you talk and tell me what you're gonna do, all it makes me want to do is work harder. So big up to yourself, Justin Gatlin.
That's important, you know. That statement that comes from the I Am Bolt documentary. You guys should go see it. It's actually really, really good. It speaks to Bolt's personality. Himself and Gatlin are very different types of personalities. Bolt basically said if Gatlin had not said on TMZ Sports that he was going to win in Beijing in 2015, he probably would have won because Bolt was demotivated. He was getting, I guess the word would be bored. I mean, he'd been. I guess it's natural to be bored if you're winning and winning and winning and winning. I mean, I think Bolt probably lost 4 races his entire, professional career. That's crazy, people. So Bolt says it. Big up to Justin Gatlin. Gatlin basically gave him the energy, the juice he needed to win in Beijing. And that's why rivalries are very important, especially if they're respectful. Bolt had most of the free world and of course Jamaica and the diaspora behind him. And Gatlin had the entire United States and those people who love the United States behind him. And this made for glorious sport. To me, it was the best of times. It was the best of times because this, again, it's David taking on Goliath. Obviously, David is Jamaica, 3 million people. Goliath is the United States. Most powerful, most wealthy country in the world with 320 million people. And Bolt kept slaying Goliath repeatedly over and over again. This to me is one of my favorite rivalries. To add to the drama, Gatlin's drug allegations has been with him and stayed with him since he was accused banned in 2006. And although the ban was lifted because they said that this allegation made it easy to make him into the bad guy. Listen,
why are you asking these questions that happened a decade ago? You're not a history major.
Because a lot of people don't believe your story.
And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, for a good story, you need to have a villain and you need to have a hero. And unfortunately, Gatlin became the villain. Bolt, of course, the young man from Jamaica, the innocent, the David trying to slay this beast Goliath, becomes the hero. And the media lapped it up, and the media sold, they made a lot of money selling this story of Gatlin being the bad guy and Bolt being the good guy. But I think things are far more complex than that. And honestly, people, I respect Gatlin because the sheer strength of will it must have taken to be taking on the entire world, knowing that every time you stepped on the track, half the stadium was saying, look at that cheat. And there's a high possibility he really wasn't cheating. Maybe he did tell the truth. Maybe he did have take medication that added ADHD into his system. But it was a great story, a great narrative, so people stuck to it. People were making money from it. And it led to one of the most glorious, if not the greatest, sprint rivalry in history. But here's the other thing that we have to think about. Earlier, that one of the reasons why Gatlin lost a few of those races was once he heard Bolt alongside him, he panicked and he started to overstride. It was really obvious. Just go back and look at the races. Go back into this vlog and go look at the races. I slowed all of them down at the end. And I mean, I can understand that. So it means that as confident as Gatlin was, there was still some measure of fear. And Bolt talks about this in his documentary.
And I looked across on Justin Gatlin and I could see the fear in his face.
And I can point out the 3 times that he won. The first time, Bolt was just 18 years old and didn't know what the heck he was doing. He was very inexperienced. And Gatlin wasn't even thinking about a Bolt. Bolt was not relevant to him at that point in time. Why would he be? The second time when he won, Bolt was off his mark. The fact is, a month before he had hurt his hamstring. That doesn't take anything away from Gatlin. But Bolt was not at his 100%, and Gatlin knew this. So he was a little bit more confident. And again, when he beat him in 2017, that last race, he was not beside Bolt. So he was in his own zone and able to concentrate on his own race. Now, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct about this. Those races would have been closer had Gatlin been more confident and had Gatlin stick to his game plan. One of the great things about Usain Bolt that I've always admired is, I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting him, and it was just the confidence, you know, the absolute surety of him being a winner. He knew that confidence wasn't there in 2017. It was obvious. I mean, we knew that the things had happened. He had lost one of his closest friends in a terrible bike accident. He had already said in 2015 that psychologically he was basically getting bored. And we should be grateful to Gatlin, because Gatlin was probably one of the main reasons why he stayed in the sport for as long as he did. This rivalry has so many elements to it. It's much more complex than just two great athletes running. And let's be honest, Gatlin is a great athlete. Gatlin was one of maybe two persons on the planet who was able to challenge Bolt, who was able to get Bolt to push to his very limits. Slump that the world now feels in men's sprints, it's not just the absence of a Bolt, it's the absence of this rivalry. It's the absence of good versus evil, quote unquote. I don't mean that literally. I just mean that in a media sense, in a sensationalist sense. It's the absence of David versus Goliath. It's the perfect storm, the perfect story. People absolutely love these two men running against each other. And let's be honest, there were a few moments where we weren't sure who was going to win. Give Gatlin his due. This man is a great athlete. We already know Bolt is a great athlete. But this is why this is one of my favorite rivalries. Their first race, 2005, they hugged. Last race, they hugged. There was a difference. It was a mad respect they had for each other. And big up to them. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I would love to know your thoughts. I hope you didn't mind the rant. Please remember to hit the subscribe button. It's really important. We're growing rapidly. It's because of you. We need to get to that 10K and beyond. Secondly, hit that like button. The engagement is really important. The algorithms absolutely love it. It helps to get the content out. Also, share the content if you will enjoy it. Share it on your other social pages. And, leave a comment. And as always, what we always say, bless up, yeah.